AgWeek weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
It's officially summer, so what can we expect for weather to be like? Here's John with our Agri-weather outlook.
With summertime now in high swing across the United States and the Northern Hemisphere, we're seeing an interesting weather pattern setting up. It's this major heat dome with its focus on the southern United States and shifting a little bit back and forth between the southeast and the southwest, bringing a lot of consistently warmer than average weather to about the southern two-thirds of the United States. And at times, you get little fingers of that heat coming further north. The weather around the northern periphery of this heat dome is stormier than average, just as the weather underneath the heat dome is hotter than average. The other thing that's interesting is that on the south side of this heat dome, the Gulf of Mexico is already starting to show signs of tropical activity, all of which portending and indicating things are going to be a fairly warm and stormy summer. At least it's starting out that way. Jet stream, there are two areas of troughiness right now that would be low pressure. One, as we start this period, is in the Pacific Northwest. The other one is a transitory one. That is, it's got motion in it, and that is moving through the Great Lakes and toward the East Coast. South of this, the weather generally is warmer than average already and likely to remain that way. Each day that you get a little bit of ridging, you're going to see some of that hot weather pull northward. So as we go through this first week of the period, it's generally going to be fairly hot throughout the Great Plains, the exception being North Dakota, which will have some warm to hot days. And it'll be generally not as hot around the Great Lakes. The rest of this in red is mostly warmer than average for the season, because of the more northward than average placement of the jet stream. As we get toward the end of the week, starting to see the next little low pressure system, storm system working into the northwest, and that will again likely carve out another trough of low pressure. And keep in mind that each time you see the winds blowing southwest to northeast, that usually indicates the potential for rain or stormy weather. As we get into the second week of the forecast, which basically becomes 4th of July week, we see one of those patterns setting up in the northern plains as the hot weather goes into the east. By the end of the period, it's shifting back into the northern plains. So a fairly complicated pattern, generally yielding a lot of warmer than average weather. As far as precipitation goes, with the jet stream further north, with a lot of heat across the southeastern states, and with tropical activity, either a tropical storm or just tropical waves bringing rain, I look for much of the Mid-South, the southern part of the Midwest, Great Lakes and northern plains to be fairly stormy, especially the northern plains. Not every day, but generally warmer or wetter than average precipitation. And the second week of the period also looking pretty stormy across the Great Plains, generally just drier than average, but hot along the eastern seaboard.